So, welcome to another edition of Tuning In with Tony. Today's class is an interesting one because when I first heard this a week ago, he said, we want to talk about loneliness. And one of my first responses was, well, haven't we already sort of covered that? He says, yes, but there are still people that are challenged with it. There are still people going through it. And there's still going to be some things we can add to it so that we can really do a deeper dive on this particular issue to try and bring clarity to some of the basic things that we see every day, that it is a thing. It's not just random. All right. So we want to sort of bring that to scale. The color today is yellow, and it is a solar plex color. It's an action-oriented color. And if you think about it, the people that are in loneliness, they usually have their feet in the mud. They don't move. There's not a lot of motivation, not a lot of energy. When you're in loneliness, you're in a very low vibration. And so what they need is yellow. And that's one of the things that I do right off the bat. Even when a person says, I'd like to come in for a session or something, and I'll say, and if it comes up that they're lonely, I says, let's just try something real simple, is start wearing the color yellow for like a yellow t-shirt, yellow socks, yellow, whatever you might have, or if you have a crystal that's yellow. Even if you're holding a yellow apple, the color and the vibration, if it's close to you, you'll still sort of get that energy in. So yellow is very powerful there. And oftentimes they'll call, okay, I feel a little better, I'll postpone it. And I always love that, because this way people are involved in their own healing. Is that this isn't the type of thing that you want to be able to constantly get a stream of people coming in, because a lot of times they can just do it themselves and it's really easy. And that's what it is. A lot of times it's very easy and things are going on that way. So at this time, we're looking at this is September the 1st. It's our first day of September in this time. And at this time, Spirit wanted you to start to reflect. In other words, they want you in solitude. They want you in this point where you are by yourself. And as we talked about in other classes, the part that you are by yourself, or if you are alone, those are two different energies. Even though they sound like they're the same. Well, I am by myself, and what is the difference between being alone and being by yourself? And we're going to cover that today in a much deeper perspective. All right. So right now, Spirit wants you to be in solitude. If you have any major decisions coming up, now we just had the super blue moon happen like yesterday, and it's been a very powerful, intuitive, forward motion energy, but they want you to have that resolve where wherever you're going to step forward is going to be something that's going to be right for you. In other words, the thing of the past is regret, or the thing of the past is, I don't know if I'm making the right choice, or you're second guessing yourself. And we're going to be working on our intuition, because look at it this way, with more intuition, more of the answers that just sort of come to you, you get less and less of the feeling that you're alone. Does that sound right? Because most time when we're alone, we have zero answers. If you ask someone who feels alone all the time, and you ask him almost any question, and they won't know. What do you want for breakfast? I don't care. Whatever. They're very, very sort of self-influenced in their own energy. It's almost like they're imploding. So when we talk about intuition, that brings in that level of energy that, okay, I know I'm supposed to be doing this, and which also suggests that you can't be alone if you're getting something. We're going to talk about a little bit of that as well, all right? So one of the things I want to talk about first is that when a baby first comes into this world, there's an emotional guidance scale on this planet. In spirit form, there isn't. There's just one vibration, love. That's it. There is no depression. There is no regret. There's no nothing. It's all high vibration. And so when babies come in to this world, that's what they come in at. Love. That's it. Everything is laughter, everything is just love. And this is why I guess people are reminded when they have their kids that just, few days old, and grandkids and grandparents and so on. They look back and it's like this beautiful thing, and it's so easy to love a baby, right? But when kids come in, they have the vibration of love. And what happens is when they start interacting with our world, they start to play with their fingers and their toes, and they start to really get involved with our earth. They start realizing there are other emotions other than love on this planet, because they didn't know that when they came in. Some of the more ones that they start feeling right away is things like acceptance. Like, daddy wants this done. Okay, because he accepts you. In other words, it's the first time ever that a spirit has been told that someone else says it's okay, gives their approval, gives their stamp, their thumbs up, that kind of thing. Then neutrality is another one. When you're neutral, it's like, yeah, you're not feeling good, you're not feeling bad. You're kind of in the middle. You're content, I guess. They've never had that because that's a lower vibration than love. Then they go into pride. This is what I do. That's the introduction of the ego. When you are doing something and you work hard at something, you want other people to notice it. So you have pride in it. If you're by yourself on a desert island, there's no pride. Nobody sees anything you're doing, so there's no pride to show it to anybody. Think about it. Pride usually comes in when there are people gathering. This is my work, and I feel proud that I did it. But if you're on your own and we're able to, let's say, make a boat or make shelter or create food, you enjoy those things. There's no standing back and saying, hey, look what I did. There's too much to do to be doing that, right? So it usually has something to do with somebody else. And this is where it you start to have a slippery slope. Other people do things that kind of make you upset, frustrated, irritated, angry, perhaps. You start to bring in fear. Well, what if that person doesn't like me? Or what if the parents are displeased with what I did? I hope they're going to still love me. You see, there's still that fear. Then there's grief, guilt, shame. And I guess the real rock bottom one is hopelessness, just giving up, throwing your hands up and saying there's nothing else. That is the epitome of being alone, is when you get to that vibration. In that time, well, what happens? As we start moving down the scale, as I call it, when we come in with love, it's a nice high vibration. And as the other vibrations start being introduced to the child, they start to lower their vibration. That means that being is now more matter than they are energy. They're more of a body than they are something that is energetic or spirit oriented. Does it make sense? Because when a person is in hopelessness and they're in fear or anger or something, try to get them to say, oh, things are going to be okay. You'll see. Well, how? You'll see. It'll be fine. I don't believe it. They just will just knock off any options that there are, because they don't see it in front of them. It's not tangible. It's not there, so it does not exist. When we are more matter, it is only our body that is around. And this is where, what if somebody doesn't like me? Well, look I have a few extra pounds. I'm not as good looking as perhaps somebody else is, or I don't have the same clothes. Everything then is physical. When it's in that physical state, it's a low energy, because you're attributing everything to how you look, how you feel, not even how you feel, but how you feel about how other people look. And that is, again, connected to physical reality. As we start to go up the scale, where we are looking at love, joy, peace, enthusiasm, and even enlightenment, that's one of the top ones. When you're enlightened, it's like you just have a connection to the universe. When you're at that stage, from love and up, you are more energy than you are matter. Okay? And so that's how everything sort of goes. But what makes it so our energy starts to come down? Well, a number of things are a factor of this. One of them is labels. Giving a child a label. Oh, you have ADHD. What is that? You have a learning disability. You are fat. You are not able to be with those kids because you're not the right color. Whatever it is, it's a label that humans give onto anything. Whenever somebody comes in, I had a few people this week, and they had different things that were going on in their life. And they told me what the doctors told them, what the disease was called. And for me, it doesn't matter. I'm not a doctor, but all I was getting is that there's something imbalanced. And that's all it usually is. Either there's an imbalance or you're balanced. And when you're balanced, you're in optimal health. When there's something off, then the body, somewhere in the body, depending on the emotion, will be reflecting on that, whatever the disease is. And so the last we heard was there's 150,000 diseases on this planet that humans have given attested to, that something is a disease or an illness. But there's only one. When you talk to a shaman in one of these, in the Andes, let's say, or somewhere else, they only see there's one disease and one cure. It's either going to be a balance or an imbalance of something, and the cure is to create balance back into that energy, whatever it is. It could be in the throat, it could be in the back, the spine, whatever it is. Your body is a marvel of a barometer that it can detect exactly whatever emotion it is. It'll come out through that energy. If you have a hard time standing up for yourself, more often than not, your ankles and your knees will have an issue, because that's how you stand. You stand up on your own 2 feet. And if you refuse to, those are the signals in your body that you're not following what your natural state is. You're not standing up. So, of course, the knees will model and replicate that energy in those joints, cartilages, and anything around there. You're going to have more knee issues. And if you don't do anything for a long period of time, then things like an accident that will actually hit that knee every time will hit that knee, because it is trying to bring the balance back by nudging it. And with more focus on the knee, then perhaps then we can stand up, and then hopefully our energy will change. But that's how that guidance, emotional guidance scale works, is that as our energy comes up, it does that. Another one is attachments. You attach something to that child. Whatever the stigma is, well, all people that are short, they can't play basketball. You're attached to something. There's control, whatever the outcome is. Well, I don't know what that's going to happen, but if you do get an A in math, then we'll go to get some ice cream. So in other words, there's an attachment, or there's an outcome, and you're giving a reward or a penalty based on the outcome. If you don't pass a certain class, then this is the result, right? It's an outcome. That's how they learn that, oh, there's different energies. There's no way that I can think that I'll pass, because they don't believe, or whoever's doing it doesn't believe that by thought you can pass that way. They say, if you pass, then this is what you'll get. Another one is resentment. If you resent something, expectations, limiting beliefs. Limiting beliefs is like, it's our society is filled with limiting beliefs. So you can only guess that if a person has that, like I heard the other day, and it's so untrue, regarding some men drivers, or women drivers for that matter. If a man has a hat in the car, he's not a very good driver. And but it's always that limiting belief, and it makes it so small is that you're focused on that one thing, and that brings down that vibration all the time, because now we're segmenting an ability, segmenting people's energy, and that's what it's all about. That's what makes us all confused. And this is why we feel that we're kind of alone. One of the things I thought was really good is that what is the difference between, I had one person ask, when it comes to loneliness, it seems like more people that really aren't alone, they are more spiritual, but they don't understand how the universe works as opposed to spirit and soul. And how does that all work in coordination? This has nothing to do with religion. This is pure understanding of how physics works, and it's how energy works, how the universe works. And so the best explanation that I heard was on one of the interviews that I just saw a few weeks ago. Was that the gentleman said, if you look at the universal consciousness as this big, huge thing, when that breaks down into smaller segments, all right, it's spirit when they have it into a smaller unit. But then the spirit breaks it down to make it individualized, so it is you. We are all souls, and we've all been here several times. We keep coming in, and our soul is the one that does the learning. But in spirit, it's more of a broader term. But when we individualize it, so let's say we make it into even smaller, that is the soul. So one analogy that this person had was, if you took the ocean, that would represent universal consciousness. Then you go up to the beach and you take a glass or some kind of a container and you scoop water in this glass. In that glass is spirit. All right? Then when you take the water, and let's say you colored the water, and the example was given as red. Let's say you colored the water red. That is now you. So that is all the Jones, the Johnnies, and the Tonys, and all of that. That's individual, because that's you. That would be, that red is representing you, and the cup represents your body. All right? When we feel loneliness, we feel that we are only the cup. It's this cup. That's us. That's it. That's all there is. There's nothing outside of that. And in reality, what it is, you are not even what's in the cup. You are the ocean, because you came from the ocean. So the ocean doesn't, you have the same ingredients, the same chemical layout as what the ocean has, the same level of salt or the same level of whatever the chemicals and the elements that are in the ocean is in this cup. So you are the ocean. You're a part of the ocean. So you're a part of universal consciousness. And when you understand that, then this loneliness energy has a really hard time staying around, because now you realize there's something beyond the cup. And that's what's really important, realizing that it's the ego that says, no, because it wants to bring in that pride. It wants to bring in all the ego elements, and that I am the cup. And look at how nice this cup is. It says, or look how bad this cup is, however way it judges itself. But when we look at it, it's the ego that brings it down to that small state. And you see it in our society when we start breaking down the population, and it's not just people, it's talk about various types of people. And, you know, we see that in the news all the time, that different kinds, we don't have to go through it all, but it's the segmenting that actually makes it less and less and less. And the people become more lonely the lower the denominator goes. Whatever the label that is attached to it, the more specific a person is, right down to their gender, or right down to their color, or right down to their ethnic group, or right down to because you were on the wrong side of the river, whatever it is, that brings in that loneliness, because then we're alone. We feel that it's just us and the world. It's just us and the universe. It's a very difficult time. One of the things that really proves this very well is that people that are in crime and they end up in prison. And one of the worst offenses, or one of the worst punishments, I guess, that prison has, among other ones, is solitary confinement. This is when they take a person that is absolutely connected to other people. So it's just like they feed off of you. I have to be with people, and I have to make sure that they accept me. I'm one of them. I'm one of the boys. I'm one of the girls. I'm one of whatever the group is. And for them, they need that. It's that craving. I'm part of a gang. I'm part of and they have no individuality. And that's why it works, because when they put those people in solitary confinement, the very people that they need to survive energetically is not there. So they almost become dependents, and it's almost like a drug. And the longer they're in confinement, the worse they become. Their health goes down. They're just like mentally, emotionally, physically, they just get drained because there's nothing they can feed off of. Now, this is why it works for people that are in prison, because the reason they're there in the first place is because they don't have that same spiritual understanding, which made them do the crime in the first place, whether they stole something or whether they hurt somebody or they whatever they're in there for, is because if they were spiritually linked or if they were linked to the universe, they would not have done those things. Now, if they were framed is a different thing, but let's just go with that, because that was one of my questions. Well, what if a person was mistreated and he was absolutely innocent when they sent him to prison and he didn't do anything, and it's a spiritual person? Well, here's the thing. When you take a spiritual person and you put him in solitary confinement, that's a gift. Because they don't feed off of people. They feed off of whatever's going on in themselves. Like after 4 days, they open the door and he says, oh, another 24 hours. I'm almost into myself. Just give me a little more time and like I be a pal, like put me in for another day. That's how they go, because they don't feed off of other people. They are looking for opportunities on how they can be with people. You get this? So they can share their joy, their love, show pictures of their kids, want other people's kids, that kind of thing. They feed off of the opportunity to share, not take, right? So that's the difference between that vibration and the others, okay? Now, when we talk about peace in the home, I saw this one article from, it was a Parent magazine. I thought it was fascinating. I wanted to let you know just a little bit and cover that on how some parents, when they try to teach their kids about what it's like to be by themselves, what's it like to be alone, and at first you say alone, but alone really means you're on your own, you're doing your own thing. And so when they do that, they said, one of the first things they said was stop entertaining your kids. It says, learn to support their play in a creative way. And there's 7 things you have to avoid so that the play becomes part of their life. It just gets them used to being by themselves, so they don't have to feed off of people and accept what other people are saying or having approval of others. So here's one of them. Avoid interrupting them while they're focused on something. So sometimes you'll see a 4 or 5-year-old and they're playing with something, and the parents looking at them, and then they interrupt. Oh, I think you missed a piece, or some interruption. This article says don't do that. Just totally leave them at their way. It says if they are focused on something, just leave them alone. Number 2, choose toys wisely to spark creativity and imagination. Declutter the playroom so they are used to order, and then they can bring everything out to create disorder their own way in a creative way. After you're done, then teach them how to put everything away so it goes back to order. All right? Number 3, don't play for them. I thought this was a good one. How many times have we played with somebody and then we want to create the rocket? Next thing you know, we're the one playing and the kid is, long in bed. Because sometimes we get so involved with it because we are now energizing our own child within, because maybe it's something you didn't have as a child and now you're reliving it. So avoid correcting them. Avoid directing however way the play should go. Stay back and more watch them play. Let them explore the problem and let them figure it out for themselves. One that has is a big one was my grandson was taking a car and he had to put the wheel back on. And it's a very simple thing. It just snaps back in, no problem. But you got to do it from the bottom. He was trying to do it from the side. And it was so difficult for me not to just to solve it. And I says, no, I just got to leave him alone. And he was doing it, and I could see he's involved, and he was trying to do it. Eventually, after about 5 minutes, he figured it out. He put it in. Oh, and he took it out, put it in, and he figured it out himself. So maybe sometimes when kids do things, it's not so great that they do it. Is that the great thing is that we let them do it. And that's really hard to hold back that way. Number 4 was don't overpraise them. Because what this does, the article says, is that when you overpraise a child, they get used to what other people are saying about them. Oh, Johnny, you did great. I mean, this is good, positive stuff. But it has a backward hit and a boomerang effect. Because, Johnny, you did fantastic. Hey, good job, Johnny, good job. Well, what does that teach the child? That what I'm doing, another person is approving. You're teaching that child that for them to feel good, they have to get praise. So, and in the beginning, I was partially doing this. I was constantly praising. And then when I was starting to realize, wait, what am I doing? I'm setting them up for other people to tell them, hey, good job, good job. The next thing you know, is this okay? Is this okay? And when first time I heard that, I said, okay, I way overdid it. I overpraised them because now they're looking for my approval. That's the last thing I want my kids or my grandkids to be. I want them to think on their own so that they feel this is the right thing, right? Yeah, the sky is green. All right. So don't overpraise them. It says long stretches of play are for their internal motivation. So when they are doing things and you're like they're making a fantastic fort or they're making a fantastic whatever it is, just say, what do you think? What do you think that looks like? If they are asking and they want you part of it, you always get them to see what they think. And that's much more healthy, they say. Number 5 is give undivided attention. In other words, be with them, only observe in curiosity. They just might need you to be there. That's all. You're not really meant to play with them. They just like you, that you're there. And then just let them float away. And what this teaches the child is that it makes them that it's okay to be alone. Like right now, I'm with them, but I'm not saying a word. But they're so focused, it's like they know I'm there, but I'm not saying anything. So their focus is more on what they're doing. That's very healthy, that they were saying here. Number 6 was allow for boredom. Boredom is healthy. And boy, that's a hard one, isn't it? When you're bored, oh, I got to do something. Let's turn on a radio, or let's get, some music going on YouTube, or let's do something because I'm just bored. And you hear teenagers say this all the time. I'm bored. I don't want to do this anymore because they've been so conditioned to be entertained for 10 to 12, 15 years that now they need to be entertained all the time. And as adults, what does that turn into? You always have to, and you're always never addressing anything because there's distractions everywhere because you love distractions. You don't want to just be on your own. We call it boredom, but really it's being on your own. Boredom, they said, leads to creativity. Come up with their own ideas. Yeah, we're bored. So they say, I'm bored. Yeah, well, what do you want to do? And just be silent and let them figure it out. Much, much more healthy. Number 7 was a big one. Minimize electric toys, anything with lots of lights and sounds and screen. Anything that they would look at a screen. So, of course, the video games are a big one. We see this more in as they get older, 9, 10, and even in teenage years. Even adults do a lot of screen time because the toy is busier than they would be. And it overrides any creativity that they would have. So blocks, socks, just like things that they would find around the house, vases and anything, and they would make something out of it. Hey, this looks like a dog. This looks like a duck. This looks like a tower. And just let them go wild. And then eventually they'll just spread out the whole floor, and they'll make like a village, or they'll make like this is the jungle, or they'll make, if it's my son is or grandson is right into dinosaurs. So he has all kinds of toys. He's got a suitcase full of dinosaurs. So we create a safari, or he does, and he puts them all in a row, and he does rock concerts, and it's the dinosaurs are the spectators, and so it just let him go. And he could do it for like quite a long time. So that's what they say, is let the child be their script writer, the director, and the actor in their own play. Don't be part of it. You're just a spectator. So I thought that was a good one, because, we are looking at things that way, and it's again, very, very healthy for them to do those things. Another aspect of being bored, or being in this, getting used to the child, being that they don't have to always move, they don't have to always react, they don't have to always do something, is when you give them a hug. This one really attracted me because it has the most of the energetic part of it that I really liked. Is the next time you go to hug your child, but don't let go first. Let the child let go first. So you're just holding them and holding them. And as long as they're holding you, you just keep holding them, so that they are used to, and it's almost like you're a charging station. Like they just need a little security, or they just need a little warmth, or they just need a little, like, I feel alone. Maybe they might even have elements of being alone. But as soon as you hold them, you just hold them in a gentle way, and then just sense that time when they're okay and they want to let go, then you can let go. And what the article said in this one was, as the child starts to get used to your hugs, your new hugs, as they call it, because if you're just starting this for the first time and the child is already several years old, they won't get it right away. They'll just want to, release right away. But once they realize they have to release first, the hugs become longer. And that is extremely important. They say that 4 hugs is what a person needs to survive. So whether you hug a pet, whether you hug your mom, your dad, neighbor, or even a handshake, but a hug is the best. You need 4 of those just to survive. You need 8 hugs a day just to get it so that you're maintain the health that you're on. 12 hugs or more means you're expanding. And if you're in a family that everybody hugs, you come in and everybody hugs. It's like a receding line where when somebody comes in, everybody gets a hug. In our family, that's the way it is. When people come in, there's my wife and I and everything, and we hug everybody. And so everybody gets that. And when they leave, we do the same thing. So they got 2. Now, if you hold the hug and they hold it for every 3 to 4 seconds or longer, almost counts as another hug. So if you hug for, let's say, 10 seconds or 15, that's a long time, believe me. In the beginning, they'll say, wow, are you okay? But when you do that and you just hold it for them, it's like they really need it. It's that charging station. So this is really great when you're looking at it that way. So when you're doing that, make sure that you get that person, even an adult, and once they see that your new hugs is like you're not pulling back first, that's the first thing they're going to do is they'll hold longer if they need it. They're having a hard day, boy, they're going to certainly be able to have benefit for that. Yeah, I'll just go through, let's see, okay, I'm going to just skip that because I know I want to get to the meditation here. See, all the material that I get from Spirit, it's like I have to pick and choose as we go. One of the things about the pandemic, okay, I heard that the other day. This pandemic that we've had over the last couple of years, it's created millions and millions of people that are in this loneliness energy. Notice how I didn't say lonely people, because there is no such thing. There is no such thing as a lonely person. It's a person that is hanging on to a lonely energy. That's more like it, because that same person can attest or raise their vibration and be lonely no more. So it's a temporary thing. So they're holding on to loneliness. Okay. What happens is, in this loneliness, it affects the frontal lobe of the brain. And that is controls our decision making, and it controls the way we see ourselves. And it's all about rational thinking. So when we are thinking rationally, then you're probably with a lot of people. You're with your neighbors, and you're always with people, and you have this really great sort of sense that you're part of something. Then you don't have this loneliness energy. The ones that have it will start affecting, and we've seen a lot of kids where they've had to Zoom, or they've had to, stay home for extensive periods of time, maybe be away from their friends, no birthday parties, they couldn't have Christmas, and it was that strict at one point. So it has affected a lot of young children because they don't know how to manage it. Well, forget young children, adults have a hard time managing it themselves, but kids can only see what their parents are doing. And if their parents always have the radio on or the TV on, it's a big thing. Like, how many people have you seen, you've gone to their house and they're in the kitchen talking or working, and the TV is on in another room and nobody's there to watch it? I've seen that in many households. I says, oh, your TV's on. Oh, it's okay. It's a nice noise thing. Because they have to hear that noise. And this is a person that's, well over 60 years old. So their whole life, they've had to have noise in their life for them to be okay by themselves. Because if you're alone in an empty house, and let's say they're off doing something, and you're on your own, do you feel, and it's at night, let's say, do you feel that your security is at risk? And if you have a radio on, or if you have some noise, everything's okay. Because nobody breaks into a house if there's noise, right? Nobody wants to hurt you if there's noise. And so that is not true. Noise just shows people that you're home. Oh, then they know where the money is. There's many ways you can look at this, right? So when we look at that frontal lobe is really affected, and then it changes their whole way that they behave. They have outbursts. They don't see things right. They could hurt somebody and not really see that they hurt anybody. They have violence incorporated in there. There's many things of different outbursts. They create property damage. They cry out of injustice for whatever. I got an F in math. That's an injustice. Or whatever the injustice they might feel that has been bestowed on them, they will cry out for it. But they won't really look forward and thinking, well, hold it now. I didn't even study for this test. Well, of course I got an F. So in other words, they don't look at it, but doesn't matter. A person that is not rationally thinking, they don't see it that way. They just realize they got an F. It's not an outcome they wanted, so it's your fault. It's your fault that I got an F. Because if it was a lot simpler, I would have done well. You can come up with many. Or, it gets to the point where it's really out of hand, where a perpetrator, and I've seen this happen, where a perpetrator would actually slap somebody, hurt their hand, and blame that person because their hand is sore. In other words, when a person gets older, even from childhood, when they get used to not being able to manage their emotions, then their front lobe is going to be affected. Their decision making is not going to be optimal. So it's the one that have the higher vibrations that they don't get involved in that, and there is no thinking because we bypass the rational thinking. It's only rational not to hit somebody. It's only rational not to rob a bank. But when a person is more spiritual, it's all about, I just want to feel love. Do you see that there's no rational thinking there? They just realize, no, I just want love. I just want someone to be okay. I want to make sure that I don't cause hurt to anyone else. And that's a spiritual quality. Rational, yes, we could say rationally it doesn't make sense to do all these, but you see, they have to have those rules for the people that can't think rationally. When you want to say something, you don't yell it out. How many times have I heard of somebody coming from a foreign country to Canada? They don't speak our language at all. And so we say, "Are you hungry?" And they don't understand. And so what they do, they talk louder. They don't understand even at any volume, but we tend to talk louder when we want to be understood. So that's the thing, is that when we look at the ways that we manage our own emotions, we can really stay out of this loneliness energy. Okay. Okay, I'll give you one more tip here, and then we'll head into the meditation. There's there are many different strategies out of this, but I found a couple of good ones that will make sense pretty much right away. 4 ways to help with loneliness. The first one, monitor your self-talk. Boy, that was stupid. Why did I do such a stupid thing? Okay, that kind of thing. Watch your self-talk, because the way that you talk with each other, meaning you and you because your organs, the water inside of you, everything is listening to you. We already know Dr. Mansour with his water experiments, that you're just talking to water or putting a label on a glass water beaker, the water changes. All right, and we have water mostly inside of us. So when we talk bad about ourselves, that's going to bring us into loneliness. So watch your self-talk. To just say, "It wasn't optimal. I've learned something." Okay. Visualize success. Visualize the fact that, yeah, I could cross the street, no problem, rather than fearing that you're going to get hit by a car. I can see myself walking across the street and it's going to be safe. And then just naturally, you're going to be looking at the cars to make sure that the success happens, rather than fearing and then looking at the cars that could hit you. 2 different outcomes. Number 3 is be grateful. And a person would say, well, if a person is in dire straits, what could they be grateful for? They might not have a job. They might not, they might not be in the right apartment. They might not be in the right place. How can a person be grateful for that? Well, in Spirit says are they homeless? And person would say, well, they have an apartment. They have a roof over their head. Well, some don't. Some are actually living on the street. So if they're in an apartment, be grateful you have that. You have to start with the basics to start with. Be grateful for, do you have something in your fridge? Even if it's only a salami sandwich, or if it's craft dinner, or if it's just do you have access to any food? Well, yeah, I can grab a bite. Okay, so be grateful for that. And from there, what else do you have? Do you have access that you can go outside and maybe not get mugged? Well, yeah. Are you going to get shot? Because in some countries, you walk out, there's a possibility you could get shot. But you're living in a country that is not the same situation. So if you start looking for the basics, security, food and shelter, start with that first, and from there, move your way up. Do you have clothes? Do you have more than one shirt? That kind of thing. And then be grateful for that. And the 4th one is live in the now, live in the moment. It's really great when you could say, well, today I'm going to be doing this, and right now I'm going to do the best I can do. And it's every moment that comes, I have access to anything I want. But if you look at the past with regret and look at the future with fear, I don't know what's going to happen in the future. Gee, I hope I'm going to not be fired by my job, or I'm not going to be able to pay my rent or something, whatever it is. If you're always looking at the now, and this way things will just start coming to you as we go. All right. Okay. So let's move right into the meditation. This one you're going to really like, because it has to do with your fears. Somebody said that at one point, how do we get past the loneliness? And it's through our fears. And so what I want you to do is right now, just mentally come up with like maybe 3 fears. I need 1 for sure for this meditation, but have a couple of extra just in case you get through one fear and then you need another one. What's going to happen is you're going to choose a fear. Let's say it's the fear of rejection. That's a pretty popular one. I feel like I don't want to be rejected. If I ask, let's say, somebody out for a date, one might say, I don't want them to say no. I'll feel rejected. I'll feel like really embarrassed that I even asked. So let's say it's that. So then I'll have the energy of rejection right beside me as I'm going to climb a mountain. I'm going to play the mountain meditation that we did last week. Those that weren't here last week, we did a new meditation and we talked about the mountain. In this soundtrack, you're going to hear the sound of the wind. Okay, and I'm playing a special passage by Beethoven. It's Symphony 7, Movement 2. And that one is all about letting go. It's the same vibration as letting go. It's remarkable. This man was just a genius when it came to energy and music. He was able to basically decode and make a piece of music that actually helps us let stuff go of the past. That includes past lives. So as you're climbing this mountain, you start off in the hills and you're climbing as much as you can, and you have your fear of rejection, in my case, okay? You can choose your own. You have this fear climbing beside you. And I want you to keep going, and as the meditation goes, just have that fear climb with you until you pass it and it falls behind. If it falls behind, if it still continues as high as you can go, that's okay. That's okay. Because on your own, you can keep doing this to a very high mountain and see how high you can get, because it will not, I repeat, it will not be able to take you to the summit, because the fear is usually with falling or that you're not going to make it. But if you make it, it can't go that far. So it's only natural that that fear will not be able to go as far as you can go. So as you're climbing this mountain, look over and see this and just keep climbing, okay? Let's see how this works out for you in this meditation, okay? Take a deep breath. We're vibrating to the color of yellow, okay? It's our solar plexus. Take a deep breath of yellow, canary yellow. I want you to breathe out canary yellow and select a fear that you want to address. Make sure it's a big one, whatever it is. And we'll see you in about 13 minutes. The snow glows white on the mountainside, not a footprint to be seen. A place of isolation, and no one here is mean. The wind is howling like my childhood storm inside. Couldn't keep it in. Heaven knows I've tried. Didn't let them in. Didn't let them see. Be the good child you always had to be. Conceal it. Don't feel it. Don't say a word. Stay in a corner so you are not heard. Don't let them know who you are, as your real identity hides too far. The mountain says, let it go, let it grow. Can't hold it back anymore. Let go of the fight. Let go of the angry stack. Turn away and then don't look back. I don't care what they're going to say. The mountain inside of me is going to stay. Let the outside storm rage on. The mountain's wind protects me till dawn. It's funny how the mountains make everything seem so small, and the fears that once controlled me can't get to me at all. It's time to see what I can do to test the limits and break through. It's time to let the mountain out inside of me. It's time for me to just be. No right, no wrong, no rules for me. I am finally free. Let it go. Let me grow. I'm peaceful as the mountain snow. I am one with the wind and sky. You'll never hear me cry. Here I stand, and here I stay. Let the storm rage on for another day. My power of the wind is blowing to the peaks. My soul is spiraling, creating cloudy streaks. And some had thought that I was weak and always last. I'm never going back. The past is in the past. Let me grow. Please let me grow. Just stand back and watch me glow. And I will rise like the dawn. That perceived perfect child is long gone. Here I stand in the light of day, with nothing to prove and no one to pay. For the mountain I climb is not for others to look up at me. It's the inner mountain I climb. That's my identity. No more pretending and no more shame. The size of the mountain and I are the same. Slowly come back in the room. Try and remember what you felt, what you saw, what you brought back. Did the fear go the same distance as you? Was it taunting you? Did it say anything? Did he give you doubt? When you said that, it came to me that when I meet a person, I am on the top of their mountain looking down, and they're saying, "Am I going to be okay?" You know, when they say that, and I see, yeah, you're going to be okay. I'm at your. I can't. I didn't know that until you had described it that way, but that's kind of what it is. Is that I'm where you would be, and everything's fine, and it's just climbing that mountain. I'm not there to help you up the mountain. I'm only there to give you encouragement, right? Or to give whatever insight that will give you encouragement, that motivate yourself, kind of thing. But I can't interfere. I can't help you up the mountain. I have to wait for that person. And but I want to show you one more thing before you go, because I had this on the list and I said, well, if I don't have time, I won't do it. But it is one way for us to be able to clear our aura and clear our third eye. Those are the two things that brings us to this loneliness energy. When you are being influenced by other people, whether it's one-on-one or whether it's online. And that's the thing that surprised me. If you're online a lot with people and they're making you angry or they're saying comments, why would they say that about me? Or they would say a comment about something regarding medical condition or something, and we get upset. They are affecting your energy. The two things that are happening, they're infiltrating your aura and your third eye. So when your third eye is blocked, more often than not, that person is going to be or already in that state of loneliness because you're disconnected. If you disconnect your phone is on battery, so it's not connected to power. So what happens is, well, I'm just a phone now, and whatever battery I have in the phone is going to be it. So what do you do when you're on the phone? You're talking, you look down at how much battery power do I have left? If you got 80%, no big deal. But what if you had 11? All right. If you have 11 and you're constantly looking at, okay, I don't want this call to end, so I'll just make it quick. So there's always this fear that we're alone. But as soon as you plug it into the outlet, now you could be on the phone quite a bit, and it's actually ascending. It's getting higher, 80%, 85%, because there's this connection of higher power, right? So, but when a person is lonely, so there's two, I'm going to give you two ways that you could do. You understand what mudras are? They're the things you do with your hands, and there's, it's part of meditation. But you can do this even if you're just sitting outside and watching the birds and so on. The first one is to protect your solar plexus. That's the one we're working on today, is your solar plexus. And that is controlling. Nobody can control you. It's your auric part of you, okay? And the mudra for that is if you put your hands together like a prayer, okay? Keep your fingers together and then just move your palms out a little bit, okay? Almost like a triangle, little triangle. You can keep your fingers together and your thumbs would be crossed on the other side. So you have a little bit of does that make sense? Okay, so you have a little teepee, almost like, and your thumbs are crossed. And if you hold that for at least 10 minutes, that will strengthen your aura and it'll strengthen your solar plexus. Just that mudra, because all of the earth, fire, wind, and everything, all the elements are together, and now it's focus. And the triangle is like a laser beam, and it just goes right for power, your higher power. Okay? That's how to do that. Now, to clear your third eye, that's that insight thing. The way you would do it is your middle finger come together at the top and your thumbs go together at the bottom. Then you curl your index finger so the knuckles touch, and same with the ring finger and the baby finger. Okay? So it's almost like a tower. Okay, so hope that makes it sense. So your middle finger is up, your thumb is connected, and your knuckle on your index finger, ring finger, and baby finger, the knuckles are touching. And you hold that for about 10 minutes, and that will clear your third eye and you'll be more intuitive. Sometimes I'll do this if, let's say, I just got some news just before a client would come in, and I got some news that was alarming. You know, sometimes it happens where just before I get some news, and you know, now I'm focused on that, and my third eye is sort of foggy. I'll do that for about 10 minutes, and it just clears it right up, and I could do the reading a lot easier. Okay, I'll show you a picture just in case you have any think about that. There, the first one is the one with the solar plexus. Okay, they go together. Now in the picture, it doesn't show the triangle. That's another way to do it. I found that by just bringing out your palms just a little bit, like a triangle, so there's a nice little gap. You could put like a little golf ball or a ping pong ball in between your palms, and then have your thumbs cross. That's the best for willpower and everything else. Okay, and that will really support your aura and make it stronger. And your third eye is just the way that we showed you there with your middle finger and thumb, and everything else, all your knuckles are touching. Okay, this gives you an idea. Okay, so I hope that helps. Okay, so this time there's ways that you could do it with meditation. Now there's ways that I've showed you how to do it just with your hands. So you could be sitting outside, you know, just not really doing much, and you just got your mudra going. Okay, and then this way, and you just hold it. It's just a matter of holding it. It's like doing yoga for your hands. All right. Now, the longer you hold it, the better it is. It'll just make it that much better. This one's for the third eye. That's very, very powerful. Okay. So I hope that was a good lesson for you. We're trying to give you all kinds of different techniques that when something happens, you can move to one technique to another. But this one, you don't have to meditate. You can just sit quietly, and you can even do it while you're watching TV. It doesn't matter. It's like yoga for your hands, and just hold it for at least 10 minutes. And you just hold it. So you can put it beside yourself or on your lap. It doesn't matter. Okay. The key there is just to do that formation, and how long can you hold it for? Now, they say some people could do it for 30 minutes. I get cramped up after about 15, 20 minutes. It's hard to do it for 30 minutes. It's a lot of practice for do it for 30 minutes. And the idea is after a while, you start to realize, okay, I can't make a fist. I got to just relax. And it forces you just to relax your hands. Your hands are attached to everything in your body, from your gallbladder to your third eye. It's everything. And so this mudra is very helpful for that third eye, and it helps with your psychic abilities and your intuition. So whenever you're not sure what to do, you know, just put this on. Like says, I'm not sure whether I should, you know, take a class in university, get my MBA, you know, maybe some major stuff. Then just hold that and just think about it. Wonder what it's like, and then just sort of mull it over, as they call it, while you're in that mudra. And usually within 10 minutes, you'll get, you know what? I don't need it. You know, it just comes out. So logical thinking goes to a point, but when you're getting something from your intuition, that's much more reliable, because it sees the future. It sees you at the top of the mountain, and whether or not you need it or not, it's fine. But it's all about getting that insight. So that should be helpful. Okay, well, thank you lots of people. It's just holding it for half an hour is the key. So usually it's something that you do if you're you know, sitting quietly and either watching a game, or you're just watching, you know, even in the park. Let's say you're with your kids or your grandkids or something, and you're watching them play, and they're there for an hour. Well, you can do the mudra right there. It works. Yeah, I've done that. Take care, everybody. Love you all. Okay, take care. Bye.
Bye.